Yeah. So thanks Peter and Mikko for great presentations. They are actually a very good introduction for this one as well. So now we are taking a look at the one journey. So now we have got the overall understanding, of course that has been there already with many of us. But now we take a look at this journey to make a completely new marine engine with the Agile moisture. This ammonia that you can see there, it's made of hydrogen and nitrogen. So hydrogen you can get from water, nitrogen 78.5% of the air is nitrogen. When you put those together, you get ammonia. You finish that ammonia. There is no carbon. So if the carbon is problem for this world, then this is one of those solutions to solve it.
Exactly. Hopefully, I guess you can hear also me. Yes, the microphone is working. So what we are going to present today, here is the agenda. So first we go through quickly the introductions, who we are, what we do. Then we also go through what is Wärtsilä in a nutshell and what's the purpose of Wärtsilä and what kind of different agile approaches we have in use maybe in Wärtsilä, kind of an overview, and also to give a kind of a context that now we are only explaining one case, and from that perspective we are not speaking on the behalf of the whole Wärtsilä. This is just kind of a one case example. Then about its actual case, so we go through why we started this agile transformation journey and what does it mean for us. Then we also go to that part that how we are enabling the manufacturability and also the serviceability via cross-functionality. Then there is a topic regarding the how to ensure the fast time to market and do that with the correct value proposition. There will be some topics regarding that one, and then in the end we conclude and go through some maybe lessons learned from our journey. And then hopefully we have some good answers and questions coming. But that's about it. So who we are, my name is, as mentioned, is Henna Torkkola. I have been working as an agile coach in the Wärtsilä in the future views and new products development environment, and actually in the R&D, so in the engines R&D and in our marine business side. And I have been working there since 2018, when we also started this agile journey with this new engine development.
My name is Tuomas Linna, and I'm leading the development of the small bore engines. So we have the large bore, medium bore, and small bore. Small bore engines are from here to that wall, so that is the size of it. So typically used in the ships.
Yes, and there you can see some figures also from Wärtsilä, so it's a very huge company.
So this is our purpose, so I don't talk much about that, but enabling sustainable society through innovation and technology, in technology and services. And we are really now in the core of decarbonization. If you think about that the old engines, we actually make them possible to use the new fuels, which doesn't have any carbon. Then we have also carbon capture. So we are really on the top. And this case example is right on the spot of our strategy.
Wärtsilä is divided into three different kinds of businesses: the marine business, the energy business, and then the portfolio business. So it's a huge company, and due to that, we also have several different approaches how to use agile frameworks or different methodologies, etc. So with that slide, I have tried to describe that. Now we are speaking only from one case example, which is coming from the marine business, and it's coming from the R&D, the engines R&D, and that's part of the marine, but we are of course serving the energy business also with that. And that's not covering the whole marine, but we are placed there in the marine business, the R&D, and within that R&D department, and if we click once more, it's there. We have already used different agile approaches. We have the traditional project models there. We have this kind of a maybe hybrid model. We are now introducing for you this new product development case. And then we have our, for example, automation and control department, who is using more the scaled agile approach in their department. But that's a huge, let's say maybe 1,000 people already within that R&D. So we are speaking about big part of the company, but obviously. But yeah, Then to the actual case. So why we started this journey in Wärtsilä and especially now regarding this new product development. And as a baseline, we used kind of the scaled agile framework in the beginning, and it was very actually nice to see when Peter was saying that SAFe was used as an inspiration for them. That was basically the same for us, that it's there in the background, but it has been used as an inspiration. There will be also a slide maybe after that, so come related to that. But here we have those different objectives related to basic working we set in the beginning of the journey. And that happened in 2018. And here we have a lot of similar things. Peter also mentioned those core capabilities. And actually we can here see that those same elements were there when we started this journey. We wanted to improve the reaction to changes, so how we will cope and fulfill those changing requirements. And now, for example, Tuomas was saying this ammonia case. So during that journey, actually this whole sustainable fuels development came more and more kind of a focus area. So when we started, it wasn't that kind of a hype. How is it now? So it was really kind of a thing that we needed to change the way how we can react to these changes. And that Agile is kind of a way also to react faster. One of the objectives was also that we wanted to co-create and collaborate more with the internal stakeholders, but also with really the end customers. And that has something we have been focusing since the beginning. We have had several different ceremonies and events with the real end customers, but we have also involved kind of the whole value chain, so the internal stakeholders to the engine development, even though the program was led originally from the R&D. We also wanted to build the self-organizing teams. That was also discussed quite much with the other presentations. So build the autonomous teams who are capable and able to do the decisions on that level where it's needed. We also wanted to promote the transparency and the cross-functional communication and cross-functionality as an approach. So visibility everywhere, so that everybody has the same understanding where we are and what we are doing, what are our common targets. And then last but not least, there was this that we wanted to keep and increase the satisfaction of the program team. We wanted to create that kind of environment that we are doing that things together and we can do attitude for the people. We plan together, we achieve the targets together, we also fail together, and then we probably, and we have been doing that, so we are celebrating together those small and bigger achievements together with the team as a one bigger kind of a program team. But that was why we started the journey, and now it seems that we have quite well actually achieved those targets in the beginning. But what does this mean for us? Maybe Tuomas, you can continue, or if you have still something regarding
Yes, you still get back to that.
Yes.
So actually this was the hypothesis in the beginning, that when we have these things in place, then we will be successful. And then I started this with interviewing 4 different consultants. And then I concluded, actually, we know the things, and we don't need the external power other than I just took the good thesis worker Henna there to grow for this role. And I think that it was the right decision. So I studied the SAFe model, then we didn't use those terminology. We didn't rebrand it, not at all. Because I am a junior in Wärtsilä, I have 18 years. First 9 years in the business, and then the second 9 years I have now been in R&D. So to focus on those things that we do well and to start incrementally. Of course, we needed to find out that we need to have some change there, because it was year 18 when we really started this. Now it is in the market. Now we just scored the world's first ammonia deal. We have the DF engine, so the LNG engine and the diesel engine there in the market already. But it's so long time that you actually, this hypothesis was at the beginning there, and we got it to work. that we need to reinvent it all the time, because at the first step we had the designers and simulation experts there. Now we have the laboratory people who are testing the engines and the market to win. So we need to go to invent it again. We need to all the time make it better and to fit for the purpose. Don't spend too much time with this one, but really the culture of continuous improvement is something. So we have different approaches in Wärtsilä also, and I think it can be even so that the sister team who is doing also large program can have a little bit different things there. It needs to be tailored for the purpose. That's my view on this one. I already mentioned this one, but if you think about 6 years, and especially when there is a revolution happening in the market that also Peter touched, when the buses are going from the internal combustion engine to be electrified. Ships, yes, partially they are as well. When you have a short distance ferry, for example, that needs to be full electric. Then we have lots of hybrids, but then you have the ocean-going transport. Nobody can fill up the ship with batteries. That it takes so much room. So you need to have traditional technologies there to go with the new fuels. But anyway, so we were struggling that how to make it, because we really built hardware, how to make it agile actually. And the world is changing, the requirements are changing, so how to really do that? And the only way that we found out is that we need to have the model where the change is built in. We need to live with it, because we cannot control the world.
Yes, and then I mentioned that there will be a slide which might be familiar for you if you know the Scaled Agile framework. But we have used that just as an inspiration. But this is just like an unofficial adaptation or illustration. How would it look like if we put all what we are doing into that kind of a framework and try to visualize it in the same way? So actually now here in this picture, what you can see are the elements what we have in place, even though we are not visualizing those in our environment with that kind of a format. It's just to have the understanding for those who are familiar with the same model. But there on the up, that's the Wärtsilä level, so one of the strategy level. And there we have this Wärtsilä way, which is our strategy. And within that Wärtsilä way, actually, there are a lot of same values that are behind the Agile approach. There are a lot of similarities in that. And as a part of the Wärtsilä way, there we have this Wärtsilä continuous improvement model. It's there also in the circle. And this model, there are the same elements that are behind the Agile approach, the same values, etc. On Wärtsilä level, as I mentioned, we have 3 different businesses, and now we speak about the marine business, so the engines for the marine. And then if we go to the middle part of the picture, there we see the R&D, so the research and development department. And that's trying to maybe explain here that how we are managing the things on that level. So on the R&D level, we have basically kind of a common prioritization and also planning cadence. It's not straightly quartal, but it's about the quartal level, the common cadence. And the whole R&D is prioritizing and selecting, for example, these must-be's according to that same cadence, and making the plans for those according to the same cadence. We have there also listed kind of development streams. We are not using that term, actually, but we can visualize it so. So we have there the research and technology development, including, for example, this sustainable fuels development. Then we have there the different engine size platforms development, small bore, medium bore, and large bore. And then we have listed there the automation and control as a one development stream. And now we are speaking about the small bore development, and as a part of that we have also, as Tuomas mentioned, this ammonia development. And then there on the lowest part of the picture, we have tried to illustrate how we are doing that actually now from this new product development and from this small bore perspective. And there we have those cross-functional teams and the program cross-functional approach. We are going to next tell about those more. Then we have tried to illustrate there also that how we are creating the minimum viable products. So a bit more from the technical perspective also, that how to split the development into smaller pieces. And then there's also mentioned the way of working. So what are the different events and ceremonies and how we are doing those according to this common R&D level cadence. And maybe one thing still to mention here before we go those in more detail is that actually this our way of working was there already, or we started already in 2018, and after that came that R&D level cadence. So it was a bit kind of a bottom-up approach. And now we have aligned with that common approach. But in the beginning, actually, we had, for example, shorter sprints than we have now. But due to the synchronization with the rest of the organization, we have made some maybe changes to our original approach also. But yeah, then we go forward. So to the cross-functionality, how we try to enable the manufacturability and the serviceability with this cross-functionality. Of course, there are a lot of probably answers at how to enable the manufacturability or serviceability from a technical perspective, but now we wanted to focus on that cross-functionality, which has been in our focus quite much during the journey. So, how we have done that? We have tried to build this kind of a team of self-organizing teams. So we have scaled that within the program team. The whole program consists maybe more or less 100 people. It depends how you calculate. But there are several teams within that program, and those teams are kind of autonomous task teams. And then we have one kind of a product core team. And those teams together are the whole cross-functional program team. Within that core team, the product core team, we have representatives from the different parts of the value chain. And that means that we have there people from sourcing, from the manufacturing, from the services, from the sales, etc. So the whole value chain has taken into account, and we have representatives from there. We have also, as a part of the bigger program team, a lot of team members from outside R&D. So we have kind of worked over those organizational boundaries, and that has been very crucial if we think about the future manufacturability or serviceability with the future. And then we have those autonomous task teams. Those are also cross-functional within the R&D. For example, simulation expert, the designer, different other experts, etc. They are working very closely together so that they are capable to test also things together when they find out something. It's making the things maybe a bit more flexible and faster. But that has been the approach, and I would say that that's how we have done that. And there are also a few comments from our program team members how they have seen how this is working in a cross-functional setup. But why this is important? Tuomas, next slide I think is about that.
Yeah, I don't expect too much time with this one, but just continue this cross-functionality, what is really needed. The assignment when we started the development was to take the customer into the loop. And I was thinking that how to make it actually, because we are making for the large market. The best example is that when the ammonia revolution is now about to start. So actually, this is a very unique position to start from the beginning, thinking the holistically, the whole, not only the ship level, but also the supply chain. So from well to whale, these emissions. So it has been really interesting case to go develop those first projects already for many years, which are now materializing. So of course it is very much about interfacing, but also suggesting how to make the complete solution better. But you are one part of the chain. But we know this diversity, we need to take it there, this T-shaped organization that you bear sold. It's a very, we talked about it a lot in the beginning, but how to then, when this develops, first with the designers, now with the market people, now with the customers, how to ensure that we we change it so that we still remain cross-functional. Because then we can solve the big things. Otherwise, we are just solving the problem of a box. This life cycle you already discussed there, but just to mention there that this product, which is now launched a couple of years ago, it will serve when I retire. So the same platform is there. It's then further developed and tailored for this market and that market. This decision making was, when we first started, we had still quite much that old culture that the directors decide, that you have also heard today. But it wasn't no longer asked after 1 year. So I think we did it pretty successfully to let the decision to go where it needs to be, so where the knowledge exists. And this is really something where how we are acting, who are leading this transformation, we have the biggest say there. If we don't act in this way, then we actually are stopping this development, like was already mentioned by, was it Nico or Peter? I shortly covered this one. So this is now how we are actually doing. If you think about this time frame, we can put there 6-7 years. And we had also very nice discussion on the break with one of you that how to build the hardware, because you cannot build a factory or engine just with something and let's see if it works. So it was key to realize that how in our environment, what does the minimum viable product mean? And in the beginning, it is just the simulation models. When we start then to develop, we have the rigs, we call them rigs. We test the fuel injection separately, we test the cylinder head separately. Then we go to one side of the engine, it's called single cylinder engine, with the right combustion that we have there. And after that one, then we enter into laboratory engines, 1, 2, 3 engines, and then we are ready to get to the field experiment. It calls pilot, but it is such a pilot that it needs to work 20 or 40 years. So it's the same as Peter also mentioned, Scania needs to work. If you invest a ship where the prime mover it's just this one engine, it cannot be such a pilot that we don't know what to happen. So you need to have the security, quite high level security there that it works. But this was key to actually understand what it means, this minimum viable product for us. And I already mentioned that I am kind of junior in Wärtsilä. There are lots of those who have been 40, 30 years in company. So they know the things that you need to, in that kind of environment, you just need to use that the best possible way. And I've heard many comments from the old timers say that now we are getting back to the old days when we were a small company where the information was much easier, when people knew each other. So actually we are taking with these, by implementing Agile, we are taking back the good things of the simple organization.
Yes, and then maybe regarding the big picture about the way of working. So of course we have this kind of a high level that how to create a minimum viable product. But then during those the development cycles for those minimum testable or viable products, we need to have some kind of a way of working. And that's then about the way of working. So how we are actually viewing and what kind of different events we have at the moment. As I mentioned in the beginning, we had shorter sprints, and that was really needed in the beginning. And we were actually changing quite much the way of working based on those regular retrospectives in the beginning, quite much. But that's the current setup where we are now. And now this model is in sync with the R&D level cadence. And that's why we have these kind of 4 times a year level cadence. But what we have here there, we start every period, as we call it. It's the same tender increment in the same terminology. We start that with the PI planning. We are just calling it as a program planning day. And then everybody comes together and then we plan that what are the main things for the next period, how we're going to achieve those. And then it will be also on the team level that they have those different team level plannings and they set the targets. Then during that period, we have these regular ceremonies or events, different kind of follow-ups. We are not calling those as dailies or stand-ups anymore, but it's the same thing. We go through that what's happening, how can we support, and it's happening on the different levels. We have those on the program level, but we have those also on the different teams and on the team level. Then we have also other events. We are not using a lot of word demo, but as a demos, we have kind of like technical coffees happening every week, and then we have those result reviews, which are also happening every week. And the purpose of those is basically the same as the demo. People are showing what they are doing, and then we are discussing about those things together with a bit larger audience. And then in the end of the period, we have a common program level retrospective, and that's also happening in the smaller teams, that we are collecting the feedback from the teams, that how they are doing, how should we maybe improve the way of working, or then how did we achieve the target or not, and how can we work better in the future. So basic retrospective things, and those are happening at program level and in the team level. But that's basically the way of working, how it is at the moment. And now it's on quartal basis, but it will be also, and it is also that on the team level, there might be sprint level or shorter level ceremonies and events happening during those periods. But that's kind of the framework what we have and how the people are working. But that's about it then, and then we promise to share what we have learned during that journey and what are maybe the main things we think are needed for the transformation. Here we have listed a few things. If I take a few from there, so about the servant leadership, what has been also mentioned here quite many times. This would not have been possible without that. It has been that the leaders there, they have been kind of showing the direction. They are also giving the opportunity for the people to do their work and also make the decisions there where it needs to be done. That has been very important, I would say, and one of the most important. If I take another one from there, is that a critical mass of the dedicated and committed people. It's needed. Of course, we have part-time members also within the teams, but we also need to have some amount of those committed people who are doing that journey together with us. And they are involved and very committed to do the change together with us. And then those part-timers can be also involved based on the needs on the different ceremonies. I think Tuomas, you maybe will also pick a few of those lessons.
Actually, I mentioned those which are not there, so we are not mentioning the vision and results, but we take them as granted. But in the beginning, you need to have the vision to show the direction there, and you need to feed continuously the results into this one, because otherwise, the results are a really big part of this one to have this atmosphere. What we actually thought in the beginning, we need to get the 2x, it was called 2x at that time, 2x spirit, and we clearly actually got it. So what I'm normally measuring is that do we achieve the results, which nowadays is that do we get it, this to solve very much, and then what is team thinking about? What do I hear from there? And also, if I don't hear anything, then it's something is wrong probably. Then probably my behavior is something that it's not the right one. But we need to sense, and I at least use very much this kind of silent or just sensing the feeling and what they are talking about others about our development. Because from that one, then you are actually able to see that do we need to change something, or do we need to accelerate the change? Do we need to reinvent it, or what to do?